And a happy hockey day to all you fine people out there on the internets. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I am, of course, your host, Benjamin Kennedy, and thank you for joining us today. Yes, it is the first day of the NHL hockey season here stateside and Canada side. Uh, Three games tonight. Certainly looking forward to all three of these, all on ESPN, starting here at 4:30 this afternoon. So today we are going to give the Edmonton Oilers a full-on season preview here, coming in just under the line here right before the season starts. Fully had intended to get this out last night. Ended up with a bonus evening with my kiddo, and we actually did a little fun video last night with him. I've always kind of taken the approach since I started podcasting to really not have him on camera. Of course, the internet can be kind of a horrible place, but he's been just kind of after me about, I want to go on a podcast. I want to do a video. I want to do a video. So we did a very cute video last night, a little 5 minute uh, video there. So go check that out. It was hopefully would be the cutest thing you would see all day. So I might be a little biased though. So sorry. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Western Conference champion Edmonton Oilers. Of course, coached by Chris Knobloch, who tired there last year. After that, just rugged start the team had. Coached 69 games for the team and a 703 winning percentage during that time. They definitely picked up the pace after he came in. 46, 18, and 5 for him. And of course, prior to that, had 5 years of AHL head coaching experience with the Hartford Bullpack, of course, the AHL affiliate of the New York Rangers. And of course, years ago, we all know coached the Erie Otters when Conner McDavid was there, so has that history with Connor over there in those OHL days. So hard to argue with the decision they made. I hammer the league, how quickly they are to pull the trigger and firing coaches, but there are certainly times where it works, where it just works, and this was one of those times where the team was so dead in the water, uh, hard to watch early, in the season, and change definitely. Whether it was the change at coach that helped or not, it changed the coach and they start winning. So kind of, obviously hard to argue with it, and yeah, be curious to see how he follows up this season. He's got one heck of a team on the ice in front of him. Salary cap as of a couple hours ago on Puckpedia, they had just under $1 million available, 952,000, and they were reading 22 or 23 active roster spots filled there. So most likely they'll call a guy up, probably minimum salary guy. There'll be a little bit more movement there. So they will be cap compliant for the start of the season. They did have the 32nd overall pick in the first round this year, where they took Sam O'Reilly, forward from the London Knights of the OHL. I believe he's heading back to London for this season. But last year there with the Knights had a 20, 36, and 56 lines. So that's 20 goals, 36 assists, 56 points. And all accounts looks like a real decent prospect. So we'll see how he does. Of course, London, if you follow the OHL, I don't follow it too closely, but everybody knows the London Knights. They are always super, super loaded with tons of talent. Going back to last season's results, of course, we all remember their season 49, 27, and 6 record. After that awful, brutal start, they still end up with 104 points and finish second in that Pacific division, going all the way to game 7 of that Stanley Cup final against Florida, which we'll be talking about next. Uh, Battling back down 0-3, and we all just watched and wonder, can they pull this off? Can they pull this off? And I think most casual fans are probably cheering for that story to unfold. But it's just like, it looked like it went from being kind of a dud of a Stanley Cup final to being a really, really exciting, kind of epic final. So good on Edmonton for battling back. Just maybe don't get down 3-0 next time. Yes, easier said than done. Team stats was very, very strong last year. They had goals for 3.56. They were good for fourth in the division, or in the league, I should say. Goals against, they were at 2.88, good for 10th. That left them at a plus 56 in that goal differential category. Power play, they were lights out at 26.4%, good for fourth. PK, kind of average, 79.5%. And face-off circle, they were at 53.2%, good for fifth. So, of course, they are deadly at the dot. And they're deadly at the dot for a couple of the guys we're going to talk about next. Conner McDavid, 76 games for him, 32 goals, 100 assists for 132 points. Just a dynamic, electric season. Followed by Leon Draisaitl, who played in 81 games, had 41 goals, 65 assists for 106 points. Right there. Two of the best in the league. And you have them on the same team. Defenseman Evan Bouchard, 81 games for him, 18 goals, 64 assists for 82 points. Forward Zach Hyman, another dynamic year for him. 80 games played, 54 goals, 23 assists, 77 points. That could be a trick question or a good bar trivia question, like who led the Edmonton Oilers in goals scored in the 23-24 season, and everybody will guess Draisaitl and McDavid, and nope, I believe Zach Hyman there, 54 goals. Forward Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 80 games for him, 18 goals, 49 assists for 67 points. So just a loaded, loaded, loaded team. First world problems all over there in Edmonton, right? Goaltenders, they had Stuart Skinner as their starter. Real solid year. 59 games for him, 36, 16, and 5 record, 2.62 goals against, and a 905 save percentage. Backing him up was Calvin Pickard, 23 games for him, 12, 7, and 1 record, 2.45 goals against, and a 909 save percentage. So quite solid in net. They definitely held their own. Additions for the season. They bring in forward Victor Arvidsson, defenseman Joshua Brown, forward Jeff Skinner, probably one of the bigger gets for them this season. Center Matthew Savoy, coming over from Buffalo? I think Buffalo, yes. More of a prospect, high draft pick. We'll see what happens there. And forward Podkolzin comes over as well, along with defenseman Ty Emberson. Key departures for the team. Forward Sam Carrick, goaltender Jack Campbell, forward Warren Fogle off to LA, defenseman Vincent Desjardins, forward Ryan McLeod, and then, of course, we have forward Dylan Holloway and defenseman Philip Broberg, both being claimed as restricted free agents by St. Louis, and they both go out the door to the Blues. And Cody Ceci also out the door. So a little bit of movement, but again, when you have that core that we just talked about, you can survive some of these players coming and going. Uh, so, kind of predictions for this year. I mean, I think the first thing you think of is hunger, right? I think this team is going to be on fire, hungry. A couple things to watch for. They remember the start they had. They remember they cost a good head coach his job last season, and I would not bet against them early in the year. I think they're going to come out on fire. I think they have been pissed off all summer to be that close to get to a game seven, to battle like they did, and to come up short. You know that these types of guys, that doesn't sit well for them. So I think they should have a very fast and hot start. Um, they might even kind of run away with that Pacific Division and hide for most of the year. That would not shock me in the least. Um, Losing hurts, and you hear about it all the time in the NHL. Sometimes you have to go through that losing before you finally get over the mountaintop. Florida did it, Tampa did it, Colorado had to figure it out. So this is a team that, of course, is a real sexy pick for a lot of pundits out there. You're seeing a lot of Edmonton picks. You're seeing a lot of New York Ranger picks. Edmonton seems to be uh, a lot of people's kind of favorite pick this season. They're hungry. And nothing would shock me about this team. Nothing which it wouldn't shock me if they run away with the Pacific and hide. It won't shock me if they get back to the cup final. Truth be told, won't shock me if they win the whole damn thing. They are not my pick, as I've already done my predictions. I do have the Dallas Stars winning the Stanley Cup this season. But again, nothing would shock me if I'm wrong there. It's Edmonton. That would not shock me. Conor McDavid. Um, it's really his world, right, when it comes to NHL. If he wants to have 100 assists and a few less goals, he goes out and does it. If he wants to be a 60 goal scorer, he can go out and do it. He's a magician with the puck and may very well go down as well. It's already one of the very best to have ever played the game. It's going to be really curious to see as his career comes to a close, hopefully many, many years down the road, what those numbers look like and where he fits historically in the league. He has a chance to be right at the very top. He's kind of a chameleon. He can do and be whatever he needs to be for the team. He is the highest end Swiss Army knife you're going to find, and is one of the most kind of competitive people I think you're going to see out there. We know that and I'm going to get the name wrong, but there's the new series out there, kind of giving an inside look into the NHL, and you see a whole different side of Conner McDavid, this competitive, kind of fiery, angry side that you don't typically see, in the media room, in the press room, or out in public. Uh, this guy's hungry. He hates losing, as these stars definitely do. And it's just going to be curious to see 132 points a year ago. Does he decide he wants to be a goal scorer this year? Does he decide, oh, assists were nice. Maybe I'll try to get 120 assists next year. Um, you expect him to be right around that 120 to 140 point range again. Um, he can just kind of do what he wants to do. And we should all be just thankful that we get to watch this kind of talent. I mean, this kind of, for lack of a better term, our version of Michael Jordan right now. This guy can kind of do whatever he wants to do on the ice, and we're all here, you know, uh, benefiting from being able to watch it and see him out there every night. Uh, it's not all peaches and cream though for Edmonton. They do have the Evander Kane injury. Of course, he had a hip surgery. I think a couple of surgeries this summer. Just you could tell how compromised he was at the end of the year. Struggled to finish out the season. Struggled through the playoffs. There's no question he was hurt. Uh, Last reports are he's definitely going to miss the calendar year of 2024, and I think a lot of question marks as to when he can come back. And what condition will he be and when he comes back. He's an important player. This team. He's a kind of a second line guy, has that goal scoring, plays some physical hockey, and they'll definitely want to get him back. Um, yes, they'll survive without him. They've got plenty of goal scoring around him, but obviously you're better when you have Evander Kane as part of your team. So be curious to see how they manage that, and just you hope that he can heal up, be healthy, and I certainly would not. I would be surprised if they try to rush him. I think he's going to have as much time as he needs. Get healthy, get right before you even think about coming back if you're Evander Kane. Mentioned Stuart Skinner, goaltender last year. Of course, he got into those 59 games, career high for him in games. Second year, I believe, as a full time starter, and he elevated last year. The last 2 years, he's really looked quite good. There were a lot of question marks when he came up. Is this the guy? Can he be the guy in net? And I think you're seeing that he can be in front of this team. Um, he's a battler. He competes hard, and I'll be curious to see where those numbers go. Of course, a couple of years ago, we remember that Jack Campbell was brought in from Toronto to kind of be the guy, and Stuart Skinner was the younger kind of, well, he'll be the backup or maybe AHL, and he certainly stole the show, stole that job, and 2.62 a year ago, goals against 905. You wonder if he can get to that 2.5 or under on goals against. Can he get to that 910 and save percentage? He may be able to improve on these numbers even from a year ago, but it's clearly his net, and he was good enough to get you to a game seven of a Stanley Cup final. So I don't think there's any question that he is good enough, should be good enough with everything else you have around to be, to be able to get to that Stanley Cup. Is the Pacific there for the taking? Looking at that Pacific Division, Vancouver, in my opinion, still a good team. I think they lost more than they gained in the offseason. A lot of questions about Thatcher Demko. Vegas just lost a ton of talent, tons of players. Still, I think a solid team overall, but I don't necessarily think they got better. I've got all sorts of questions about LA, the LA Kings. Where are they? Where are they going? What do they have in net? They've got kind of an aging group, veteran core there. I don't think they got better in the offseason. Seattle, we'll see, right? Maybe they improved a little bit. I like some of their moves. Um, yeah, I think this division is absolutely wide open for the taking for Edmonton. Yes, they don't care about winning the division. They care about the Stanley Cup. They care about that end game. But I do think that this should be their division. I don't think it's going to be close, actually. I think, again, I think they get off to a hot start. I think they run away and hide. And I think it's a matter of Vegas, Vancouver, maybe LA, maybe Seattle, kind of duking it out for number two and number three seats because I do think you got five coming out of the Central. I don't think there'll be a wild card coming out of this division. So I think fighting for those second and third spots in this division will be absolutely critical. I think Edmonton will be sitting up there at top, not worried a damn bit about that 2-3 battle in the Pacific Division. So, Stanley Cup contender, absolutely. I would be shocked if they don't at least get to the Western Conference final this year. Should be a lot of fun to watch. So we will have Florida Panthers here coming up next. I am going to try to get that out and then sit back, relax, and watch some hockey tonight. I can't wait. Cannot wait. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like what you're hearing and seeing here, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. It means so much to me and really helps the channel out. And enjoy the hockey tonight. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.